pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
Do not adjust your computer screen. You are in store for a very special edition of the Moonshiners Racing League Cup Series here at North Wilkesboro. It's All-Star Night. Tony Passel, Matt Mettler up in the booth with you for this one. And Matt, I'm excited for this one. We dug out the old VHS cameras to shoot this race here tonight, and this is going to be a fun one, that's for sure.
Tony, you hit the nail right on the head. 280p broadcast resolution tonight. That effect on there. Gotta love that. And the All-Stars come out, and they better have some moonshine ready as well, especially you guys at home, because it is gonna be electric. This group of competitors has been lights out here on SRM, and I can't wait to see what this action has in store for us in prime time tonight, Tony.
Well, being as we are in the heart of Wilkes County, North Carolina, you better have the Old Smoky on the ice. And those of you who have never had a chance to try Old Smoky, that is Junior Johnson's family's recipe that is now legal in just about every state so far. But, back when I would partake, a little bit of apple pie on ice, and if you get the cherry pie, whatever you do, don't eat the cherries at the bottom of the jar.
Yeah, I made that mistake once as a young Marine in the Marine Corps, and never make that mistake again in my life. So
it's like it's like eating a small ball of gasoline.
Yeah, you knew when you swallowed that cherry, something was not right because
You
you
just
felt the
made a
heat.
mistake.
Yep, I knew instantaneously, and it was a long weekend after that. So no more cherry bombs for me. I learned, I got my lesson the first time. Never make it again. But taking a look here at the track data, Tony.
Actually, hold on. Let's do it this way. Looking at the track data, half-mile racetrack, 11-mile-an-hour winds, which means these guys are going to be getting a crosswind in the middle of the backstretch. You can see that opening in the grandstand. So right at that crossover gate on the back straightaway is where these guys are really going to be feeling it, where they're trying to jump on the brakes and start to get that car to rotate. That wind is going to be pushing these things around. Is 97 degrees is where that wind is pointing, so it's a cross breeze on both straights. 84 degree ambient air temperature, 110 degree 127. Good grief. 84 degree ambient air, 127 degree track temperature. Are you
I have a hard time
kidding me?
saying that too, Tony. That's a scorcher. Certainly the hottest track temp that we've seen when you and I have been up here in the booth. I mean, we know what this track does at 114. We had our hands full Friday night, and now 124, just another factor these guys are going to have to deal with tonight, an all-star night here in North Wilkesboro.
And a guy that's looking for a big night is that driver of the number 4. That's Nick King. Loops it on the first lap. He's going to have to go to the second lap only for that one to count. Let's take a look. Kyle Holden in the throwback scheme there. The old tribute to the PlayStation car. Digging it.
Yeah, out of Chicago, Illinois.
Oh, these guys are having big issues as John Binder goes to the top of the pile.
Binder went on.
And now Wortman.
What a lap by the 83 at an 1870 out of the box.
Absolutely. The chief of all the chiefs, Barry Sanders, there he is in the 88. Currently sits 5th quick. Let's take a look at what Nick King can do on his second lap. King goes up to 4th quick with his one and only.
That's good recovery there by the 4 King.
There's Nick Atwood out on track as well. Wayne Bowen, he's on a run. Wow. Bowen to the top of the heap. A 10th, 1.2 tenths quicker. It's a solid lap.
Very solid lap. The 78 of Wayne Bowen, I mean, that's putting the field on notice there. That's a flyer at an 18.59.
You know, I'm a tried and true Jegs man, but I'm actually digging that Summit paint scheme that Warren Young's got on the 40 Deuce tonight.
You know, that's very similar to the paint scheme on Cletus McFarland's Summit racing van that they kind of chopped in half and used it at the Freedom Factory. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Is Shane Davis going to go 19th quick? There he is. The man, the myth, the living legend himself, Kenny Capola, South Lyons, Michigan. Beautiful Bass Pro Shop paint scheme on that ride tonight. Really digging it.
You know, there's a driver there that has either been feast or famine.
And it's feast right now.
Yes,
Capola
sir.
to the top of the heap.
Kapow. Cop in the pole. K-Cop gets it at an 18.50. Our fastest time yet tonight, Tony.
Absolutely. It's Hunter Carmichael on his final flyer now, I think. No, Carmichael may have negated both his laps.
Oh, that's heartbreak for Hunter Carmichael. I mean,
He did. Hunter Carmichael, DNQ. He's going to have to start tail end of the heat races. Yes, you heard me right, folks. We're doing heat racing tonight. There's one half of the Mullins team. Ooh, up to 8th. Nice shot, Randy.
Yeah, the 54 possibly looking for more there. Inside the top 10.
Matt Mackin out on track right now as well, too, in the 48. Kind of a safety lap right now as he's just trying to make sure he stays off the walls and gets a time that counts. 19th quick for Middle Miss. And it looks like Mackin ran out of... Nope, Mackin's having problems. He may have negated both laps. Yes, he did. Let's take a look at Jameson Middle Miss. There oh, that's a beautiful looking Mustang.
Ted Musgrave throwback.
Yep, the Family Channel cars with that the tribute to.
Ding.
Team Watson all over the side of that car. And again, we are racing for the Team Watson Pole Award right now.
Well, they got the right man on the pole so far through almost 5 minutes of qualifying. Is Kenny Capola, Mr. Excitement's on the pole.
So far.
5 minutes left, though, Tony. It's All-Star night. No points involved. This is all about going full send and getting some bragging rights on top of it. Plus, they got a button box on the line. So these guys, are going to be dogfighting here tonight.
Oh, absolutely. And, taking a look at those RS button boxes, I saw those in the Discord server. I'll tell you right now, you'd be hard-pressed to find a more well-built button box than RS. Those things just look gorgeous.
I checked out that button box, and I was blown away. I was to the point where I was like, Tony, let's call up Frank and Mr. Rogers, and you and I will go out here in this racetrack just to try and get one of those button boxes. That thing is gorgeous, like you said.
Absolutely. And, multifunction switches, an actual dial to adjust your brake bias with. I mean, they're hard to beat. We've only got one driver left to attempt to lay a time in qualifying, and that's Derek Jacobs, as Matt Mackin and Connor Carmichael, who are here tonight, both not getting a clean lap in. And so we've got 27 cars scheduled to roll it here tonight, Matt. And,
20.
That's about perfect for here.
Stole the words right out of my mouth, Tony. I was going to say 29 cars. That's perfect. Given the size of this racetrack, pit road as well, that's going to really allow for these drivers to get out there and breathe a little bit when they need to. Coming down pit road's not going to be overly congested. But the real big story here, Hunter Carmichael in the 3, who's usually been, a very dynamic driver to watch here, especially in the early portions of these races, finds himself on the other side of the totem pole as he's going to be digging himself out of the trenches as both laps negated in qualifying. Hunter Carmichael sure has his work cut out early on in this one.
And Jameson Middle Miss doing it the right way. He's practicing getting onto pit road from speed. Big credit for him for doing that, as we've got about 2 minutes left here in qualifying. Let's go back and take a look at those race conditions. Again, 85-degree ambient air temperature, 65% relative humidity, and a 12-mile-an-hour cross breeze in the middle of the back straightaway. That 126-degree track temperature, Matt, has me very worried.
Yeah.
Because we saw how bad it was for you guys on, was it Friday night when you were here, without a lot of wind. That cross breeze is just going to be whipping those cars around in the middle of the backstretch.
Yeah, you're taking a racetrack that was first built in 1948. The asphalt was last paved and put down in 1981. Now you turn on the burners on that racetrack, jack the temperature up to almost 130 degrees, add the wind, and it's going to be as slick as a button out there. So hopefully these drivers really are going to adopt and employ give and take in the early going, because it's going to be, like you said, Tony, it's going to be treacherous out there, especially with that track temp, almost at 130.
Oh, it absolutely is. And, there's something you guys are really going to have to be mindful of. They're going to get a learning lesson during the heat race, which there are going to be 2 heat races here tonight. The 25 laps. First heat race is going to set the inside lane. Second heat race is going to set the outside lane. when we get ready to turn them loose for 150 laps to get it done here tonight. And they're only giving them 4 sets of tires, which it sounds like they're being gracious and they might have more tires than they're going to need, but no. With how hot this track is, it's going to be very easy to blister some tires here tonight. Something about these Goodyear, the low-profile Goodyears, they do not, for some reason, like triple-digit track temperatures, especially deep into the triple digits like we are tonight. The rubber just it blisters. There's no other way to put it than the surface of the tire that's trying to grip into the track. It's the same thing as if, have you ever accidentally touched a hot pan and your finger starts to blister? That's exactly what these tires are doing.
Yeah, that's well said, Tony. I mean, you can almost crack an egg and cook one out there on pit road. And given the way that this next gen car doesn't like to be over abused, it likes to be pampered out there on the racetrack. Minimal steering wheel input, taking your time. You try to push the envelope in this race car, given the surface and now the track temp. If you're not careful, boy, that right rear is going to be gone quick, fast, and in a hurry. Tire premium is a big part of the storyline tonight. You can be on the outside looking in no time should you decide to pull the trigger a little harder in the early going here.
As we take a look at tonight's heat race number 1 starting grid, Kenny Coppola, big shocker, starting up on the front row. He's going to be joined with Tim Wortman, who is a full 2/10 behind him. Randy Mullins and Barry Sanders Jr. are going to make up row number 2. Chris Spear, Garrett Crawford in row 3. Row 4 is going to go to David Belisari and Justin Sorrell. Row number 5, Paul Whitley and Jamison Middlemiss. Row 6, Daryl Klotz and Shane Davis. And rounding out the starters in this 14-car heat race, Derek Jacobs and Matt Mackin. So 14 cars, 25 laps. Everybody's going to qualify in a 14-car race are going to move onto the feature. This is going to set the inside starting row when we get ready to turn these guys loose. So let the games begin, and it's boys have at it here tonight. You can see those 2 white stripes as they get ready to come out of turn number 4. That is our restart zone. So
yeah, and that restart zone, a little bit different the way it's configured, as this racetrack really hasn't been in service since 1996. It was giving us some troubles there on Friday night. But Kenny Coppola, Team Watson sponsored the pole segment of this race. The HMFIC of Team Watson, the setup guy himself, the 77, owns it right now as he shares it with Tim Wortman in that 83.
Here we go. The pace car's picking up some speed. Coppola has the button. The only thing he's supposed to say is it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, grab the moonshine because it's time to get it on in the Cadillac. Race fans, it's showtime!
And they're getting it on in prime time, like Tony just said. First green flag of the night. Heat number 1 on their way. 77 of Kenny Coppola out in front. He's got a mirror full right now of a hard charge in Tim Wortman Jr.
He absolutely does. Well then, that didn't take long.
Wow. That's talk about dropping a nuclear bomb in the Heat 1 is Wortman had a head of steam in the 83, Tony. And watch this. He just comes up and boink all over the back of the 77. Paints him and just...
And it sounded like Coppola, when he hit, that engine hand grenaded. Yes, it did.
I thought I heard a pop, too.
He had to tow that. Oh, my Lanza. Let's watch that again. This is what the iRacing blimp picked up.
This is like start.
Wortman's going to get the run in the middle of 3. 1 tap, 2 tap, 3 tap, and around goes Coppola.
That's like starting off the fireworks display with the grand finale right off the bat.
We got to start calling Tim Wortman 2 tap Timmy, because the first 2 taps are a warning shot. After that, you're along for the ride.
Yeah, knocking on the back door. It's not delivery. It's Tim Wortman in the 83 as he just demolishes.
I'm actually digging that car, too. The paint scheme that he's got on there. It's kind of a throwback Napa scheme, but he's got ollies on it. And if you haven't been doing ollies, you kind of owe it to yourself, especially if you got a big family around Christmas time. You can buy all sorts of inexpensive goodies to keep the kids entertained at Ollie's.
Good stuff, cheap, I think is the motto, or along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I miss down here in Florida that we don't have here, that we had back in New York, and it was good stuff too. It wasn't like going to the Dollar Tree. I mean, it had
it's not
name brand stuff.
Oh yeah,
great.
I picked. You're gonna laugh at me here, but I'm a Twilight nerd. Okay, I enjoyed those books. I picked up the newest one, which is the original book written from the opposite sexed point of view. So instead of Bella being a girl, the main character is a boy who falls in love with a girl vampire. I picked that up for $3. Show me anywhere else in the country where you're going to be able to get that good of a deal on that book.
You're not. You can't even get a digital copy even in that price range. As those pace car pulls off one more time, here we go. Round number 2 and heat number 1 is Tim Wortman Jr. after dumping the 77. Now gets a mirror full of Randy Mullins. Shades of the first start of the race. As Wortman Jr. continues to lead and Randy Mullins cuts him some slack, but now he's under siege from that 88 of Barry Sanders. Looking strong here in the early going.
Sanders under heavy pressure from Spear. Spear jams on the binders to stay off. So Sanders, that's going to check up everybody behind him. 3 wide down the backstretch.
Oh, 3 wide doesn't work at Wilkesboro. Thank God they got it settled before they dove down into the turns 3 and 4 complex. It's a John Force special drag race between David Balisari and there's the 7. They're still side by side, Tony.
Spear and Balisari are not getting away from each other here, as now Justin Sorrell is going to be the surprise third wheel at that one, as we got one bailing out to go down low. That's Shane Davis peeling off. Meanwhile, up at the front, 16 laps to go, Wortman and Mullins have pulled a gap on Barry Sanders. Sanders in a solid third row starting position for the main event right now, so he's not overdriving the car. He's just trying to use this as a learning environment. Just taking a quick look at the weather. Track temperature has dropped about 10 degrees from when we started qualifying. And Jameson Middlemiss having problems.
Oh, Middlemiss
big problems.
Yeah, definitely is. He's in the grass there, trying to get out of the pasture. See the 16 right there, throwback paint scheme to Ted Musgrave Family Channel ride from back in the day. Oh! And he gets clocked by the 48 of Matt Mackin, or gets macked by Matt Mackin. That was an odd spot to lose the race car.
Not really. Let's take a look at the blimp view and watch the back end of the 16 coming out of 2. It's going to start to skate on him there. And he's trying to catch it, trying to correct it, overcorrects. Mackin nowhere to go. Luckily, the 74 Paul Whitley was on the binders quick, fast, and in a hurry. He stayed out of it. Mackin goes to the pit. Shane Davis is now back out on track after having big issues. And Middlemiss is going to have to go to pit road. Yes, he is. He's able to drive that back to pit. But here we go. Back out on track. 12 to go here in heat race number 1. Everybody transferring into the A feature here tonight for 150 laps around this joint. But those of you joining us in the live chat, let us know. Oh, Chris Kane, yes. We are getting a throwback vibe for the broadcast, considering that this is the 1987 rendition of this track, back when Winston was still a big sponsor. So, yes, we are currently shooting the heat races on an old 280p flip phone that has been transferred over to a VHS tape and then sent out to the broadcast. Don't worry, we're going to get this fixed for the A feature, but definitely doing something a little different here tonight. It's All-Star Night. We're having some fun with it.
And I'll tell you what, I know this is a heat race, but it's been a spicy unit. HOT. Big names having some trouble here early. And some of these drivers just all out aggression, no give and take at all. If that's a predecessor of things to come tonight, hold on, Tony, because once we hit the main event, it's going to be an all-out slugfest. Lights out on the pace car here, 10 laps to go. Friday night shootout style here. Why not at North Wilkesboro? Tony, take him back to green one more time, man.
Oh, here we go. Wortman going to have the button. We got that restart zone out at turn number 4. The control car can fire anytime between those two white lines as we get into the Team Watson restart zone here tonight at North Wilkesboro. Into it they go, out of it they come, and green flag is back out. Wortman, Mullins gets a great jump, timed it almost perfect, and he's going to send it on that second lane.
Get Mullins mowing him on the restart on the top side. You're not supposed to be able to pass up there. But Mullins, he doesn't know any better. But now that 83 really going to get a good center of the corner off. Mullins is going to heave back to second now. And here comes Barry Sanders. He is under attack now from Chris Spear, who's up one spot from where he started. Tony, that is a fierce bunch of race cars right there around Chris Spear, as they are just millimeters off of each other. Everyone ripping the bottom like a conveyor belt. You get pushed up top, you're going to go backwards quick, fast, and in a hurry.
You are at that as, you take a look at, this heat race number 1 is basically murderer's row. You got Wortman, Mullins, Sanders, Spear, Crawford, Sorrell, Belisari, Jacobs, Middle Miss, Mackin, and Coppola were all in this race. Now, Mackin and Coppola both had to tow back to the pits after their engines went poof after shoving the radiator into it. As here we go, battle for the lead as Mullins is giving Wortman all he can handle as we come to the handshake lap, 5 to go.
Yeah, 5 laps to go in Heat 1, and Mullins is painting a bead on the back of the 83. Now he's going to try to get down low, out him through the corner, unable to do so. Here he goes again, attempt number 2. Mullins takes it down to the white line, but unable to match the rotation speed of the 83 of Wortman, as he is able just to barely edge out the 54 of Mullins. And he's not afraid to use that front bumper on that ZL1 Camaro.
No, absolutely not. As you kind of got a feel for the Ford camp and the Toyota camp, as Coppola had the only Toyota in this heat race, he's going to start shotgun on this field for the A feature after setting quick time in qualifying. 3 to go. And here comes Mullins up the inside, leaning on each other in the middle of 3 and 4.
Short track racing at its finest. Mullins gets loose. What is saved by Mullins as he keeps it off of the fence. That's going to give Barry Sanders the possible advantage here as he pulls outside the 54. I don't think Sanders, anticipated such a strong recovery by Mullins. But now Barry Sanders is going to have to get down as Chris Spear is primed to take the spot. As we move on to the final lap, one more time around for Tim Wortman Jr. Got the lead after the bump and run on the 77 of Kenny Coppola. Barry Sanders there in third right now, up one spot from where he started.
And coming to the stripe for the finish of Heat Race 1, Wortman, Mullins, Sanders, Spears, Sorrell, Crawford, Belisari, Whitley, and Klotz and Jacobs, your top 10. Middle Miss, the only car not on the lead lap here, is no idea where Tim Wortman is going. And he doesn't have any choice to go where he's going either. As here we go for heat race number 2. Matt, why don't you get us going?
Rapid fire second heat race, one right after the other on the pole tonight for heat race number 2. The one machine of Wayne Bowen with an 18.588. Outside front row from Rackhouse Racing, the 5 ride of Aaron Matthews. Row number 2 belongs to Paul Gilmore in the 11, starting third out of the Mid-South. Fourth, Nicholas Atwood in the 24 machine. Great looking paint scheme on that race car tonight. Row number 3, starting 5th, Nick King for Warrior Racing in the 4. Watch for King to be strong here at Wilkesboro. Outside of King, John Binder in the 33, Old School Ninjas Racing. Great looking car there in competition this evening. In 7th, Warren Young in the 42, Ghost Racing BBR Ghost. Outside that row, 93 of Ryan Huff. He's going to roll off 8th here tonight, a part of Evil Empire Sim Sport. 9th, that belongs to Bobby Justice out of Virginia. Rocking the 22 is always, and he'll share that row with Chris Davis in the 29 from Beast Mode Performance. Going off 11th, Kyle Holden in the 59. Nicholas Atwood in the 24, outside of him from the Mid-South as well. And Tony, I just lost the starting lineup.
Starting shotgun on the field is going to be Hunter Carmichael in the 3, all by his lonesome back there in row number 7. So 13 cars for this one, as Matt mistakenly entered the session. As we get ready to turn them loose here, Bowen going to have the button as the lights have gone out on the iRacing pace car. And as we get ready to turn these boys loose for 25 laps of anger here at North Wilkesboro. And, I got to tell you right now, I'm digging Gilmore's car for the second week in a row, running that Pepsi Challenger, the 85 rendition of that car. As the field comes out of turn number 4, Bowen has the button. Pace car makes that hard left turn into the Watson Racing restart zone, and we are underway.
Bowen hits the boom pedal. It's a drag race down into the turns 1 and 2 complex. Bowen is able to squirt out in front of the 5 of Aaron Matthews, who is hot on his 6. There's the 11, Paul Gilmore. That Pepsi can is perfectly dated for the timestamp of this racetrack, but just in back of him, the 4, King. Hold your breath, Nick King. Hold the brake. I can't believe no one caught a piece of the 4 and he kept it out of the fence. That's a miracle, Tony.
Well, the other problem, too, is Bobby Justice had a big issue. He's just now getting that car back up to speed. Let's go back and take a look at what happened with Justice here. As the 59 of Holden went down pit road. I don't think he really had a choice in the matter here.
Yes, I'm getting my first look at it now, Tony, because I didn't have a chance to see it live.
I didn't either. Contact. And that's why the 59 went down pit road. He didn't really have a choice.
Yeah, it's a 59 spins there. He catches the start of that wall that separates the racetrack from pit road right there at the back of the race car. If he was going any faster in that slide, that'll just bend, the chassis on that car. It will be tough to hang on here in the qualifier.
Oh, it absolutely is.
Owen out to a half a second lead now, north of a half a second over the 5 of Matthews. Biggest mover in the field so far, Tony. Look who it is. Hunter Carmichael, the haymaker himself, up to 7th, up 6 from where he started.
Bear with me, folks. Live timing and scoring does not like heat races. So let's try that again.
We'll hit the refresh button, trying to get that overlay back up and running for you. And you're right, Tony. SDK, timing and scoring, is not a fan of iRace, or not a fan of heat racing. But I'll tell you who is. Wayne Bowen he is just out there clobbering the field right now as he continues to inch ahead of Aaron Matthews. I mean, these two are in their own zip code, the 78 and the 5. Then you've got to go almost 2 seconds back to Nicholas Atwood and Paul Gilmore. I mean, going back to 5th, Warren Young's almost 3 seconds off the lead. That's the type of pace Bowen and Matthews are putting up right now. It's incredible.
Oh, they absolutely are. We got to go back to our next closest battle is going to be back here with Warren Young. And just as I say that, Ryan Huff has a big moment. Well, getting back here, Young and Gillimore, two very sharp-looking paint schemes here tonight. Again, I'm a Jags fan, but that Summit scheme looks very sharp here tonight.
Yeah, Tony, I'm really digging. I'm liking the paint scheme on that Summit race car. That 42 is just bad to the bone. That paint scheme is phenomenal on that race car. You know what else is crazy, Tony? Talk about a deep sleeper. Who turned the fastest lap of the race so far? You got to go all the way back to 12th place of Kyle Holden at an 18.65.
Well, he's driving mad now.
Exactly. Now he's hit that other gear, slingshot engage, if you will, and he is coming. There he is, the 59 there, as he got into some extracurricular activities there, the opening of this race. Clearly, you can see now he's at the afterburners. He's trying to round down the 22 there of Bobby Justice.
Both those cars, unfortunately, a lap down after having to come down pit road. They didn't really have a choice in the matter, as that's where they both landed, and it would have brought a caution out if they had tried to keep going on the racing surface. But getting back to this battle for fourth, still hot and heavy, as we are 16 to go, allegedly. And I don't think that's right. Is it right? Let's find out.
I'm trying to confirm that for you, Tony.
That is not correct. Well, let's try this again here. Oh, crap.
According to iRacing, we're on lap 15 right now. As you're watching Paul Gilmore there trying to defend from that 42 of Warren Young. Paul Gilmore doing a great job of trying to defend on the top side. He goes for the crossover. The 42 of Warren Young's ready for it. He takes the defensive position there, and look how low the 42 just rolls the bottom, eaten in the corner on the bottom. As he gets a nice run off that corner, going through the turns 3 and 4 complex here one more time. Now going to stretch it out a couple tenths over the 11 of Gilmore. Down a couple spots from where he started, but still having a solid run inside the top 5. However, the man on the move, full send, Hunter Carmichael in the 3. Qualifying did not go his way. He smacked the wall on both laps. He had to start in the next county over, and already he is up to 6th.
Solid run for Carmichael right now as... there we go. There's the Williams, Iowa native. He's had pace. It's just he brushed the wall on both his qualifying attempts. And as you mentioned, started shotgun on the field. Now sits +7 in 6th place with 7 laps to go.
And he's still on the attack, especially with that track temp as hot as it is. You know he's having to wheel that race car, driving through this field, slicing and dicing. I figured these tires would be shot already, but Hunter Carmichael continues to put down phenomenal lap times as he's now inside the top 5, Tony.
And I do apologize to everybody for timing and scoring not playing nicely, as we are working lap 21, 25 here right now. Your closest battle on track is going to be up here between the 24 and the 42. That's Nick Atwood in the 24, the 40 Deuce of Warren Young right behind him. That's your battle for the final step of the podium in this heat race.
Yeah, that 42
handshake
car,
lap, 5 to go.
5 to go. Tony, I'll tell you what, that 42 ride seems to really start to take off the longer he goes into the run, as he really had to run down Aaron Matthews in that number 5 machine. You see him there, dives down to the bottom. Or I'm sorry, that's the 24 of Nicholas Atwood. My mistake. But he's still able to maintain the bottom. That car is nice and stable, especially into that hard braking zone. As you watch how good the 42 just rolls the center able to pick up the throttle. That's exactly what you want to be able to have here for a good long run speed here at Wilkesboro. It is now the 42 of Young, second biggest mover of the race, now up 4 spots in the podium position, up to third.
Yeah, he is at that as we are on the white flag lap. Bowen a full second to the good right now. There he is over Aaron Matthews down the back straightaway for the final time into the final corner. Bowen, unless the wheels fall off that thing, going to be your heat race number 2 winner.
And if you're the rest of the field, you might be just a little bit terrified what the 78 of Bowen was able to do on that run in the heat race number 2. And he had some of that hot and spicy Carolina barbecue sauce, because that red Ford Mustang was bad to the bone, wicked fast. Is now we get ready for the main event here tonight, Tony.
Final warm-up as these guys get ready to do the final little tests on this track. We are going to step away, pay a few bills, and we will be back right after this. are back at Wilkes County, North Carolina for the All-Star race for the Moonshiners Racing League Cup Series. I'm Tony Trapasso. He's Matt Metler. Thank you so much for making this part of your hump day evening. And Matt, we've already seen some great action in the heat races. Now we're going to double the cars on track, and oh baby, the fireworks are going to be flying tonight.
Well, like I said earlier, talk about fireworks. Heat 1, lap 1, a nuke was administered as the whole field was probably shocked what happened as the 77 Sasquatch himself got set for a ride and that motor imploded. He was out early. That really set the precedence now for what we're expecting here in this all-star race. The gloves come off, no points on the line, and these drivers have shown they are going to be aggressive, and if you get in their way, they're going to oust you out of the way. As 26 competitors get ready to tango here in All-Star Night in prime time here at North Wilkesboro.
You're absolutely right, and you hit the nail right on the head. There's going to be some very strong cars that are going to be starting towards the back of this one. And, from the looks of it, that crossbreeze isn't, I say that, somebody eats the inside wall. But that crossbreeze seems to be affecting drivers more coming off of 4 than it is in the middle of the backstretch.
Yeah, but you've really seen that across heats 1 and 2, Tony, as we see someone else there getting caught in Parts Corner there, coming off of 4 is really troublesome. The Goodyears just don't have the bite, a little too much loud pedal, and the next thing you know, you're on a flyer right into that inside retaining wall.
Well, the fact that the track temperature's back north of 120 might have something to do with it.
Yep. I'll tell you what, that cloud cover we had there for a little bit, a little misleading, as that sun is back out and that temperature, like you said, is spiked, as we're almost right on 130 degrees, close enough, coming in at 127. The only saving grace, really, that 69% relative humidity, a lot of moisture in the air. That's going to help hold that horsepower and torque down just a little bit.
Yeah, but it's going to make this whole facility, as we call it up here in the Northeast, muggy as a mother. And when I say that, those of you who've experienced an East Coast summer know exactly what I'm talking about when I say it's muggy. It's that sticky, hot, there's no relief.
I call it sweat hog.
I've called it swamp cheeks before. But yeah, same idea. You feel like you've been sitting in a swamp-soaked chair after driving all day in this stuff with no AC in the car. That's a mistake you make once.
I even recall a NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race from a few years ago where they actually had Swamp Donkey as a secondary sponsor on the truck, if that's what you were getting at there, Tony. And you're right. I'm right here on the East Coast in Florida. It has just been torrential today, even with the AC on and the dehumidifier going. It's still muggy as you can feel it in the air. Let's put it that way.
Oh yeah, and it's where there's so much humidity in the air that you're going, please just rain to cool this piece off. But there's not quite enough moisture in the air for it to actually rain.
They're still
wrecking because of that one in turn 4. Good grief.
Yeah, turn 4 is definitely sketch corner here on the racetrack. And that's very apparent through the heat races and in the final warm-up session. As that was pinball gone wrong. Tony, there was 4 or 5 cars there facing the wrong way.
It was a good number of them. Sounds like somebody practicing their Ross Chastain. Yep, that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, is someone just pulled the Captain Insano pile driver there coming off of 4. That's going to KO the motor.
Oh, look who it is. It's our buddy Shane.
Shane Davis.
Unreal. And you guys get to look behind the the Iron Curtain again as we're going to take a quick look at the point standings coming into tonight. Shane Davis currently sitting at the top. Kenny Capola currently sitting at the top of the pile. And, of course, I didn't time that right. It is the All-Star break, so we'll let it slide for now. As we get ready to grid up here. And, Matt, we're going to have to fire this off rapid-fire style, I fear. There we go.
I am stuck up in the blimp for some reason and cannot seem to get back down to the racetrack.
Because I'm in the blimp. Excuse me. Tim Wortman starting up on the pole. He's going to be joined with Wayne Bowden. Randy Mullins and Aaron Matthews making up row number 2. Row 3 is going to see Barry Sanders and Warren Young. Chris Spears and Nick Atwood going to roll it from row number 4. With row 5, rounding out the top half, Justin Sorrell and Hunter Carmichael. Garrett Crawford and Paul Gilmore rounding out the top half of the field. Matt?
David Balisari in the 45, Nick King on the outside. That's going to be the 13th and 14th starting positions. Rolling off 15th tonight in the 74, Paul Whitley. Outside of Paul, Brian Huff in the 93 starts 16th here in the All-Star event. 17th belongs to Rackhouse Racing's Daryl Klotz in the 99. Caden Nofry, Indiana native in the 44 ride, rolls off 18th. 19th, that's going to be from DJ Racing, Derek Jacobs. Starting 20th, your top 20, Chris Davis in the 29 machine. Jamison Middlemiss rolls off 21st. Kyle Holden is 22nd in the 59. 23rd belongs to Shane Davis. Bobby Justice, outside of him, starting 24th. 25th, that's going to be Matt Mackin in the 48 machine for Loose Lugs Racing. John Binder, 26th. 27th, Kenny Capola, Sasquatch himself from the back, and he is the 27th and final starter as those pace lights are out, Tony.
They are at that as Wortman going to have the trigger when we get ready to turn them loose. 150 laps of scheduled distance. 4 sets of tires to get it done here tonight. The other things love to say is it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, grab the old Smoky because it's time to get it on in Wilkes County. Race fans, it's showtime!
Grandma, Tony said Smoky, not Chokey. Get your hands off of Grandpa. His 83 is back out in front again here in the big show. Now, picking up right where he left off, Jamison Middlemiss in the 14 machine. He is right there as well. As this timing and scoring needs to update as those names don't make sense. There we go. Now it's looking a lot better. Nicholas Atwood, Warren Young in the mix there, right there, side-by-side action. Mullins is going to take the spot, move him now up to second.
Checking back in with the boss man, Barry Sanders. He's slugging it out right now with the 24 of Nick Atwood. That is right there on the just on the outside of the top 5. That RS button box is number 88. Looking very sharp here tonight for the boss man. As we've got a yellow flag already. Looks like Kyle Holden has Bluetooth left front suspension. What happened to Kyle?
Oh, that 59 just can't seem to catch a break tonight. As that car is hemorrhaging big time. That Camry blowing parts all over the racetrack.
As here we go. It's going to be right there. Little bit of contact. Kenny Capola. Oh! That's the second car tonight that Matt Mackin has just caught to the face.
I'm telling you, sometimes you have a last name like Mackin. Any type of racing, I think that you're going to be more susceptible to just clobbering race cars at certain times, more times than not.
Well, Holden's going to get the run on Davis coming down the front chute, and Davis, was a little more aggressive going into one. Oh, my goodness. Shane Davis and the double deuce getting into it. That's Bobby Justice that got annihilated.
He got destroyed.
Let's take a look at Justice here. He's going to do the same thing. He's going to get the run Watch the 22 and the 79 as they try to avoid the spinning Kyle Holden. And just beating and banging and... Oy.
Smoke City.
Well then. Hope they got that out of their system early. Probably not.
Boy, that's going to leave a mark.
Yeah.
A couple marks.
Yeah, that ain't no lie. Is Mack and Davis, Holden... Davis is still out on, or is back out on track, but Holden and Justice spending an extended amount of time on pit road as Mackin starts to roll it now. But the front of that Camaro looks like he... Oh, man.
Now, interestingly enough, as bad as that looks on the 48, the other night I was hearing a broadcast, a Camaro had a nose job just like that, went full pug mode. With the splitter kicked way up like that, the car was actually bad fast for about 25 laps. The problem, though, is once it fell off quick, fast, and in a hurry. Is the 48 definitely has got a nose job following the incident there out on the racetrack. Is on lap now 8, under caution here for the first time tonight.
Lap 8 of 150. We're going to restart to put 8 in the books. Mullins, Wortman, Bowen, Matthews, Atwood, Young, Sanders, Sorrell, Speart, and Gilmore. Your top 10 as we currently sit. And I'll tell you right now, Matt, I cringe thinking what's going to happen once we get into the green flag pit stops and these guys are going to... Some are going to be on old tires, some are going to be on new tires. That's when the fun really starts.
Yes, we're back to full-fledged racing action out on the racetrack. Look at Mullins on the top side of the racetrack, hard charging William Wortman Jr., who was very electric in the first heat race. He wants the spot. He is all the way down to the bottom of the racetrack, just about in the grass, trying to find a way around the 54 of Randy Mullins. But he is fired up, full send, rocking the top side, and he is going to just power move him. Give the point now to Mullins.
Aaron Matthews seeing what Mullins was able to do, trying to do the same thing to Wayne Bowen right now. Bowen hanging tough in that Mustang on the low side. And don't look now, but here comes Warren Young in the top 5 as well. Oh, yeah, crap.
And caution back on the racetrack just as the action up front was really heating up.
Chris Spear having big issues. What happened to the 7?
We're about to find out.
There you see him right in the middle of the hornet's nest.
In the trenches.
That's no lie. Side by side. Oh, sideways and...
Oh, comes back.
Nobody hit him.
Way to hold the car down. Chris Spear, heck of a job.
Nicely done, sir.
You don't see that every day.
No, you don't. Especially considering that he didn't hit the wall and nobody hit him. And
minute that...
Something happened with Nick Atwood as well. Looks like right when the caution came out. So there goes the 7. Keep your eye on the 24. As the caution comes out and he just washes the back end around and has to do a little landscaping on the back chute.
Yeah, he helps pull some of the weeds off the curbing there. But what a heck of a job by the 7, because the minute as I saw that car hook, I thought for sure he was going to be a battering ram and just blindside one unlucky individual, but he's able to keep it off the inside wall, doesn't get hit, and keeps it off the outside retaining wall. That is certainly impressive.
It would be safe to assume that being as Chris Spears from Winston-Salem, that's just up the road from this joint. He's got laps here. And if he doesn't, I'm going to be surprised. But, definitely showing that he knows how to recover one of these cars. And that definitely takes skill. So far, that's the save of the night here in the Cup Series. As these cars, once you get them about more than 10 degrees off straight, they don't like to recover at all. And the fact that he didn't hit anything, that's impressive. And everybody behind him had it well spotted. So round of applause for everybody tonight to stay out of that one.
Yeah, we've seen what can happen this week, Tony, when that type of incident happens on the racetrack. Is we had carnage, cars on their roof, everything else, but not with the Chris Spear incident there. Just like you said, great heads up, great situational awareness by all the drivers, and a catastrophe avoided there. But lap 15 going in the books. Randy Mullins up top, carrying the torch. I mean, what a power move. Just set it on the top shelf where Mama hides the cookies. And he is your leader as those lights go out on the pace car.
They are at that. As I would like to welcome everybody on the Facebook stream. I forgot to hit the start button as we are 16 laps into this 150 lap A feature for the Moonshiners Racing Cup Series All-Star Race here from North Wilkesboro. Randy Mullins gonna have the button, already sits +2, and he wastes absolutely no time getting into that restart zone and dropping the hammer. And don't look now, but after getting taken out in his heat race, King Kenny himself sits +17 in 10th.
That didn't take Mr. Excitement long, did it? As Kenny Capola, you know he was going to be primed like a raging bull after he got dumped in the first lap of Heat 1. And Tony, you couldn't have said it better yourself. He is coming quick, fast, and in a hurry. No one even close to him. Oh, as Gilmore gets knocked into the wall. And he is facing the wrong way. I'm going to assume he had some help.
That started back here. Let's go back and take a look. It started with Jamison Middlemiss and Hunter Carmichael. So there you see Middlemiss in the 16. Carmichael's in the 3 on the top side. They're getting into each other, stacking up that inside lane. So there were two separate incidents that brought out that yellow flag. And take a look at what happened with Paul Gilmore now in the Pepsi number 11. There he is on the low side.
Gonna get some help from the Nestle quick ride there, the 74. And I don't know if Gilmore doesn't realize that he's up there or not, and the end is history right there.
Might want to refresh your trading paints, bud. Because Whitley's in a tribute, battery. Brain farts and old folks don't pay any attention to us. The old Interstate Batteries paint scheme.
Well, Tony, I appreciate that, and seems to not be the case here, as you said earlier in the broadcast. Sometimes timing and scoring doesn't like the format of these heat racing style events, and we're going to do the best with it we can. You just have to keep in mind that race car is not, as I see it myself, as it is on the broadcast.
So let's take a quick look at the point standings coming into the All-Star break here. Kenny Capola currently a point to the good over his teammate Shane Davis. Brandon Zimmerman, a few points back. As a matter of fact, almost or over 100 out right now. Sits in third. Barry Sanders in fourth is only 6 points out from Brandon. So still a lot of racing left here outside of your top two, but it's been the Kenny and Shane show all season long so far.
Yeah, it certainly has. I mean, those two have just been so dynamic up on the wheel in this racing series each and every night. I mean, the finishes have just been out of this world, and you're getting a good glimpse of that tonight. If you're new to the Moonshiners Racing League, you like what you're seeing, become a part of the family. Easiest way to do it, smash the like button, ring the bell, and not only that, it helps these drivers find more viewers just like you guys, cheering them on in prime time as those lights are out on the pace car as we get ready to go back hot one more time.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, want to thank everybody for joining us here on the Facebook side of things, even though we were a little late there, but everybody on the YouTube side of things. BZ, yes, I'm being overly gracious, saying that we're probably going to have green flag pit stops at some point. Whether or not it's during the first half of the race, that has yet to be determined. As we're checking back in here with the battle for 5th and 6th, that's Warren Young and Justin Sorrell starting to go after each other. There's the 83 of your pole sitter, Tim Wortman, after winning Heat Race 1, and the Fora King gets rocked.
Oh, that Ford machine, that Ford Mustang, as you said, Tony, just took a howitzer and is still limping along there. Actually rolling a lot better than I thought he would be. As King had a huge moment as he's off to go. Oh, look at this, the 16. He gets clobbered as well. He's facing the wrong direction. Is that 59 again involved? He has to be the unluckiest driver in this race thus far. Is Kyle Holden.
Well, it's going to pop off with the 16. And unfortunately, Hunter Carmichael just gets airborne. As there's the contact with Davis. Carmichael nowhere to go. Gets up into the wall, up and almost over.
Oh, my goodness.
That was scary.
He almost monster trucked it over the fence.
Yeah, it's absolutely the best way to put that. Let's, you know what, we're going to go on board with the 16 and watch this. This is what he saw. You see Davis on his outside going into 3. The 16 of Middlemiss is going to wash up, get into Davis, then gets nerfed and up and over. And you can see the bottom of Hunter Carmichael's number 3 as the 53 gets caught up in that as Holden gets spun in that whole fracas.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be able to see that. These race cars aren't designed to take flight like that. Oh, thank God this is a sim race, not a real race, because that would have hurt somebody, multiple drivers.
That would have been a broken back for Carmichael for sure with how high in the air that car was.
Yeah, he was full-blown space shuttle status in that 3. Carmichael, probably the biggest Code Brown moment of the race thus far.
That ain't no lie.
Rolling lap 29, now lap 30 being written in the history books tonight.
As taking a look at what's going on for tonight, segment 1 will end at lap 50. Segment 2 will be 100. So we are just past the halfway mark here for segment 1. And that man, Randy Mullins, out of Mount Pleasant, North Carolina. Again, that's not too far from here. Go ahead.
A couple of these North Carolina natives in this field really seem to have this track down pat, and it makes sense. As you mentioned, Tony, I mean, Mount Pleasant, Winston-Salem, not too far here from this racing facility that's been here, you know, for a long time. Very historic track, very iconic racetrack. Great to see it back alive and well, as we've seen in the All-Star race this past weekend. And Randy Mullins has been putting on a show here since the drop of the green flag, as is Aaron Matthews and Wayne Bowen. I mean, these guys have had some crazy lightning speed in their race cars. But there's some other competition in the field that I think may be up there, giving them fits before this one's over.
I think I know who you're talking about, and we'll highlight him as soon as we do go back to green. But right now, Mullins in control, brings him into the Team Watson restart zone. He wastes absolutely no time jumping on the loud pedal, but Aaron Matthews had it well spotted. As Matthews trying to do the same thing that Mullins did to get the lead. What's good for the goose is good for the gander, but Matthews not able to make it stick coming off a 2.
And he had given up on making it stick, as he said, you can do it, I can do it too. Just the script isn't written the same way for Matthews, as he now falls back in line. If he's not careful, the 78 of Bowen, he's going to get him eaten on the inside. It's a drag race going to the turns 3 and 4 complex. The 5's going to go up the hill. Now he's going to come and try to pinch the 78 down, but no match for that 78 machine as he had some great corner exit speed and under caution yet again is the 24.
Nick Atwood, what happened to him?
Working the bottom here.
Just brushes that flat spot just before the grass, and it just unloads the car into the grass he goes, and just locks it down to make sure nobody gets into him. And then the caution comes out. Well then.
Yep. And Tony, that flat spot right there, which is also part of the entrance to pit road, which you can make that entry treacherous under green flag conditions, really just upsets the balance of that race car. Independent multi-link suspension at all. That's when it started, just like you pointed out, and he was trying to hold on for his life after that, which he did a really good job of in that 24 ride. And Nicholas Atwood now being scored 10 positions from where he started in 18th. But I'll tell you what, the man that's had the worst of lady luck here tonight has been the driver of that 59 machine, Kyle Holden.
Kyle Holden currently sitting one lap down, but somebody that is having a good night so far, at least now that we're in the A feature, is your points leader, Kenny Coppola. Currently sits plus 20, as looks like he's going to restart in 7th position next to the boss man, Barry Sanders.
Yeah, there's your RPG in the field right there. Unguided self-propelled missile. And you know he is lit right now, especially what happened here to kick off Heat 1. I mean, he is just, the performance he has put up since over these 37 laps, just incredible.
Now, another guy that's on a good charge right now is that 33 of John Bender. Jack Daniels honey on that car.
He's literally on a bender.
Yeah, no crap. Currently sits plus 15, just outside the top 10. Looking to rectify that situation. We should be lights out on the pace car this time by. And there they go, and here we go. Mullins, Bowen, Matthews, Wortman, Young, Sorrell, Coppola, Sanders, Crawford, and Nofree. Your top 10. And that's another car we haven't spoken too much about tonight. Had a pretty solid run, the 44, Caden Nofree. Digging the M&M paint scheme on that car.
Yeah, the silent assassin, just how that 44 likes to operate. Very similar to Barry Sanders as well. Staying off the radar, but picking them off along the way. Is look how tight they are. They hit the Geico restart zone. Mullins going to go ahead and light the torch. Carries him down, maintains the lead into the turns 1 and 2. Complex side by side. Just behind him is the 78 and the 5 picking up where they left off. The 78's going to clear of Wade Bowen, and he's going to try and go up there and challenge Mullins for the lead as that Mustang is painted all over the back of his, back of his Camaro.
As we've got a side-by-side battle, some Chevy-on-Chevy action with your pole sitter, Tim Wortman. He's door-to-door with Aaron Young. Matthews. Matthews finally lets him go as here comes Warren Young in that Summit ride. And don't look now, but Kenny Coppola is knocking on the back door of the top 5.
Yeah, as good as that 42 machine of Warren Young is, unfortunately, you have Kenny Coppola in the field. They call him Sasquatch, the Juice Man, Mr. Excitement, and you're seeing all reasons why, as he is side by side, up 22 spots, down 23 spots. Oh, as the 44 M&M's car breaks that candy shell, throws. We stay green, though, Tony.
That's what I was cringing about. As here comes the race leader. That is Randy Mullins. And it looks like Nick Atwood just had big issues. He went off track somewhere. Looks like the back straightaway. Got that car pointed back in the right direction. As we go back to this battle just inside the top 5, battle for the final step of the podium, as Wortman and Matthews starting to really go after each other. And the guy who's on a good recovery drive right now is at 4 of Nick King, as he's working the inside of Barry Sanders, headed for the final spot in the top 10. King and Sanders 9th and 10th right now.
Yeah, Nick King needs a police cruiser Nerf bar in the front of his Mustang because no one catches cars to the face like Nick King throughout the course of this season so far. But Tony, like you said, he's resilient, never gives up, on a great run right now as he's up 5 spots, even with all of that early going from where he started, as he now resides inside the top 10. Oh, here we go again. That fuse got lit, and the bomb went off. It's a 93 of Ryan Huff.
And the 45 of David Balasari both get into the wall. That's no bueno. And Balasari still getting beaten on. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I mean, once they start, they don't stop right away. They keep it going, well after the incidents you think would be over. Not tonight in All-Star night. No points on the line.
Well, Hunter Carmichael, great recovery drive for him. Connection issues, though. But he is now knocking on the top 10 right now, as that is Barry Sanders in the RS button box is number 88 right in front of him. That 3 of Carmichael has been through a war already. It's caught more airtime than a skateboard at the X Games as we are closing in on the stage caution.
Yeah, I was going to say the USS ZL1 Camaro, that 3 car, shouldn't be performing like that, as it was a monster truck space shuttle mode at the same time. And I don't think he even used the fast repair.
He didn't. He's been limping that car around. But right now, Kenny Coppola plus 23 up into the top 5, currently sits in 4th. And as caution should be out this time.
For the stage.
There it
is.
It's
Kenny Coppola.
And there's your stage 1 top 10. Mullins, Bowen, Wortman, Coppola, Matthews, Young, Sorrell, King, Crawford, and Sanders. But definitely an eventful race so far, Matt.
I think that's an understatement. I mean, we see on a points race at night, I mean, just how much drama, action, the mental psychology that's in play. And now, we knew coming into this all-star race, especially with some of the insane, exhilarating finishes that we've seen, that it was really going to go next level. And you've seen that right to kick things off, Tony. I mean, these guys, throughout the course of this season, heck, if they've been in here multiple seasons, they now have that time on the racetrack where they can return the favor, repay somebody. And I think you're seeing a little of that out there tonight as, once they're getting into it, they're not bailing. I mean, they're staying right on top of each other, leaning with the best of them. And it's really made for some high-flying, great racing action. I mean, Middle Miss, he has been in the thick of it in the 16 as well at times, but up 20 spots there.
Him and Atwood both elected to stay out there. I'm not sure exactly why.
Yeah, you're not points racing. No point in staying out for points there.
Yeah, that made very little sense to me. Another thing that makes very little sense to me is the fact that Randy Mullins... Well, no, he may have taken 2. It looks like he and both Mullins and Davis took 2. Bowen took 4. Wortman took 4. Coppola took 4. Matthews took 4. Young, King, Crawford, and Sanders. Actually, everybody else took 4. Mullins and Davis, seeing what a 2-tire stop's going to do.
Well, I can tell you this, Tony, from experience. Between 20 to 25 laps, you take 2 tires on this next-gen car, it actually responds very well to 2 tires on the right side. I start to worry, though, as I'm now seeing lap 55 on the scoreboard. Not too sure how this 54 is going to fire off, but Randy Mullins, I mean, as good as he has been so far in the early going, sometimes you got to gamble. You got to go full-blown Las Vegas high-stakes mode, and that's exactly what Randy Mullins did to get that track position back. He's at the point We know how important fresh, clean air is. Now everyone else, all of these, the Hornets, everyone else that's hungry in this field is going to have to go up there and take it from that 54.
Well, clean air is one thing, but I think you hit the nail on the head. Is Mullins, tonight's the night to gamble. You're playing with house money since there's no points on the line, and he's testing that thing, doing some dry hops to see how that car is going to respond once he does drop the hammer. A little bit of distance to the pace car now as they come into the Team Watson restart zone out of turn number 4, and waste absolutely no time dropping the hammer, and we are back underway.
And as Tony said, his hammer time once again for Mullins. The Mullinator out in front tonight. 2 tires, no problem. I got this. Hold my beer, Randy Mullins says, but the 78 is going to come up and administer the chrome horn. The 54 does not budge, but here comes the 83 of Wortman. And the pace car is going to pull back out into race traffic at full speed as we're back under caution yet again. And I think problems continue to hunt down and find Nicholas Atwood in the 24.
That's what it looked like. Let's take a look at what did happen to the 24. And here you see him right in the thick of that hornet's nest, towards the back of the pack, though. And just catches that curb, and my is right.
Oh.
I was just white-knuckled. I don't know about the rest of y'all.
The minute I seen that car hit the curb, I cringed.
Oh, yeah, because you knew something was going to happen.
Yeah, don't forget about that curbing when you come onto pit road, too. I mean, that'll Bluetooth your suspension as well, as you like to say, Tony.
Oh, yeah, it'll absolutely just annihilate the left front suspension if you catch that curbing. And here you can see it on the inside of the grass. But hats off to everybody that was behind him when he did that, had it well spotted and stayed off of him. So, again, hats off to the field for not causing a bigger fracas than that was.
Yeah, I mean, these competitors really have some great dexterity on display tonight as they are missing everything. I mean, that should be like a catcher's mask, especially a lot of these cautions that we've seen is you and I are basically closing our eyes and gritting our teeth, and then our jaws hit the floor as everyone escapes by. I mean, and we've seen that multiple times here tonight, is now we put lap 60 in the history books here from North Wilkesboro, North Carolina, as it has been electric. 61 laps of the way through the scheduled 150 lap distance here tonight. It's all-star night, and the stars have been out on full display, Tony.
You're absolutely right. And one thing to make note of, Kenny Coppola, we've been talking about him being the biggest mover of the night. He actually started on the pole for heat race number 1 and got dumped in turn 1, and the engine just annihilated itself as he was trying to get that car going again. So did not finish heat race number 1 after setting quick time in qualifying. So that car has pace. He was over a 10th quicker than anybody else in qualifying. So it's not a big shocker that Coppola is currently sitting where he is. Now, he doesn't have quick time of the race, but he definitely doesn't have the fall off that everybody else does either.
No, and that's him going through the field like a fury. The last thing you want to do is dot the nose of a Kodiak Bear, and that's what was done on lap 1 of heat 1. As we go back to green here one more time, the 54 Mullins has the button and uncorks these boys again. These V8s roaring to life, rotating through the turns 1 and 2 complex. It's a stampede. 54 being led by the 54 of Mullins on 2 tires, I mind you. Look at Kenny Coppola, top shelf. No problem, just going to send it on the outside of Wortman. Wortman almost loses it off the corner. That's how strong that 77 is. Take it to the high side and just let it rip. Well, the bottom should be preferred line.
I think Wortman was getting out of the way because he was the one that dumped Coppola in the heat race to begin with.
I didn't want to say that.
But anyways, you mentioned don't poke the Kodiak. A buddy of mine and I, back when I was still an avid hunter, he said, hey, let's go bow hunting for Kodiak up in Alaska. I said, you sure about that? He goes, yeah. I said, okay, if we're going bow hunting, I'm bringing my 22 pistol. He goes, why are you going to bring a 22 pistol? That ain't going to bring down a Kodiak. I said, no. If you miss with the arrow, I'm shooting you in the leg and I'm running.
Tony Tales 2.0 All-Star Edition. Gotta love it, Tony.
Checking back in here just outside the top 10. Hunter Carmichael continues his recovery drive as he's working the inside of Paul Gillimore. That is your battle for 12th and 13th. That is an angry hornet's nest behind them. Good grief.
I mean, look at them just flaring out, breathing through the corners there. I mean, I know these drivers have done such a great job of just, just managing the space in this close quarters racing action, but still, when you see that here at Wilkesboro, I can't help but cringe. But these guys make it look so easy as Hunter Carmichael now turns down to the inside of Gillimore in the 11, the Pepsi old school throwback. They both had some incidences of their own as the 3 went space shuttle status. That Camaro still limping around the racetrack. As you, whoa, that toe is definitely knocked out of the car. But Carmichael doing a brilliant job of keeping that 3 up this pace right now.
Well, he's also making some headways. He's just flirting on the top 10. That's Chris Spear in front of him that is in 10th place. And checking out towards the front of this piece, there goes the 42 of Young around Wortman. And now Wortman's falling back into the clutches of Nick King as well.
Yeah, all of a sudden, Wortman going the wrong way in that Ollie's 83 machine. I believe he took 4 tires on that pit stop as well, so it wasn't a 2-tire gamble. That track is starting to put some rubber in it, Tony. You can see the sun's back out again, and the caution is going to make its presence felt here one more time, as that's going to damper the competition here as we go to find out back to the replay what happened.
Looks like something happened to Wayne Bowen.
Yeah, Wayne way off the pace here, down to the bottom. Does someone clobber him? No.
No, nobody clobbered him. I don't have it.
Is that the stage break? Perhaps?
No. Stage break's not supposed to be till lap 100. Well, let's do it this way. See if we can see what popped off here and whereabouts it happened.
Well, if it did, here's the spot to get it from the Eagles' nest, way up top. Oh, 3 wide action.
Oh, no.
Someone goes for a helicopter ride.
That may have been Klotz. Yes, it was. Let's go back
Klotz
and take a look at what happened there. Some of the best 2-stroke fuel on the planet from Klotz. Used to love that in the snowmobiles.
Oh.
Yep, 3 wide, never a good situation. Gets into it with a 14, and around goes Klotz.
Yeah, talk about the smell of that 2-stroke oil in 93 octane fuel. You'll always know if someone has that in their fuel cell. I agree, Tony.
Well, what we used to do is there was a hole in the fence at the local airport, and you could sneak on to there after hours with a fuel jug and get that 100 low lead avgas. And that'd really wake a sled up.
Oh, yeah. I mean, 2-stroke, those are screaming demons to begin with. You put some of that hyper juice in there with some avionics grade gasoline or fuel inside of that sled. It will become a rocket ship. You're absolutely right.
I miss the old 2-strokes because those things used to love all the octanes.
You know, I started getting into recreational equipment like that, dirt bikes, 4-wheelers, snowmobiles, right when 2-stroke was starting to phase out and they were showing the love to the 4-strokes, and they were so much heavier, bigger, bulkier. They didn't have the whole shot. They didn't have the power band. I know a lot's changed, but Give me a two-stroke any day.
Well, you've got to basically double the engine size, because it used to be 250s and 125s were the two big motocross classes. You know, the 250s are now the 400s, and what are now the 250s used to be the 125 division.
And that also equates to more weight, even though the technology has gotten a lot better.
They did it for emissions, and that's the only reason they did it.
Well, emissions or not, it was still really good smelling emissions out there on the circuit. As Mullins continues to impress with his two-tire fire at the front of the field, but don't look now. But there's a Savage coming there in the 77, and Sasquatch is eyeing up a meal in the form of Mullins. Look at him just drive that Camry through the corner, little twitch flick off the back.
We got single filed out here in the top 5 as Barry Sanders slugging for his life right now with Justin Sorrell. That is your battle for 5th. And Sanders going to win that battle temporarily anyways. And Caden Nofree having problems on the backstretch. We stay green though.
Yeah, that M&M's Camry has been used and abused here over the past 25, 30 laps. Did the 42 get around Coppola?
He just got by Coppola.
I wonder if he had a uh-oh moment there.
That's a good possibility.
Could have been a lot worse given, who's right behind him. Chris Davis, Tim Workman Jr., sorry, my timing and scoring continues to falter here.
Coppola,
Nick King, Justin Sorrell, Barry Sanders. I mean, he's lucky he only lost a spot, but now he seems to be going the wrong way, falling into the clutches of Nick King in the 4.
Yeah, King definitely on a charge right now. And you got to wonder what is going on with Coppola, because during that first stage, we saw him just eating everybody's lunch.
Oh, drift mode engaged. That right rear is gone.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Coppola was going to get clocked again. Did Barry Sanders smear him?
Yes, he did.
And Barry Sanders, I assure you, that was not deliberate.
Sanders had nowhere to go.
Exactly. Deer in the headlights, there is nothing Sanders could do to avoid that Bass Pro Shop 77.
It looks like Coppola tried to loosen the car up under the last caution that we had. And
it's loose,
he went a little too far. Not a ton of damage on that car.
I was going to say, he hit the wall probably the best place he possibly could there.
And hit it pretty square, too, so it's not going to yaw that car too much. But he's definitely going to have to go down pit road. So far, it looks okay. But he's definitely going to have to bring that thing down pit side, maybe jack a little wedge into it to get that thing to wake back up.
I know one
definitely got to burn a set of tires here.
Yeah, I mean, that right rear is just decimated. He looked like a full-blown drift car out there the last couple laps before he just, unfortunately, flat out lost it with no bite.
Oh, my. Coppola just put it on the hauler.
What?
Coppola has put it on the hauler.
Another interesting development here is one of the race favorites now out of the race. As that may have been his own personal decision, possibly just, the emotions, everything that goes into these races. Certainly didn't start off how he wanted to. Drove his guts out coming through the field.
As you know what, we are actually going to reach out now as he makes his way back to the motorhome lot. Kenny Coppola, Tony, and Matt up in the booth. You got a copy on it, sir? And apparently we don't have Kenny.
Yeah, I don't blame him if he wants to decline the interview. I totally get that, Tony. But, that's what everyone comes to see here at All-Star Night. Everyone in the YouTube chat, they want the drama, the high-flying racing action. The gloves come on, and sometimes even the heavyweights get beat on a little bit every once in a while. That's unfortunate because the 77 certainly was flying through the field, but he's going to live to fight another day. Is the 54 of Mullins, the two-tire wonder in the 54, continues to lead. But here comes Warren Young on the outside in that 42 Summit Racing Camaro. The longer we run, the better that 42 gets. And don't look now, the silent assassin, Barry Sanders, on the outside of row 2. Nick King right there as well. Tony, it's about to get interesting.
It's about to get very interesting, and you hit the nail on the head. I was about to say, the longer we go, the stronger Young gets. So here we go. Pace car is in. As soon as it cleared, Mullins was on the loud pedal. Young had it pretty decently spotted. But right now, that battle for third, hot and heavy. Sanders on the top shelf, King on the low side. And here comes the 5 of Matthews.
Yeah, here comes the Matthews. And where did Hunter Carmichael come from in that number 3 that is destroyed? Somehow up to 6. Are you kidding me? Is now here comes Matthews putting the 88 under duress, and Carmichael, he's going to throw his hat in the ring as well.
And we're back under caution. Oh, no. Something happened to Nick Atwood.
Atwood's there fighting with, 3 wide going in. Okay, they survived 3 wide. You got Gillimore on the top shelf, Atwood on the bottom. That Waffle House grease pit, a.k.a. turn 4, strikes again. As I believe Atwood there just toes it back to pit road.
He did at that, as Chris Davis catching a piece of that one in the 29. There he is on the low side.
You know, in a race like this, Tony, there's nowhere safe out there on the racetrack. A lot of different approaches, a lot of different philosophy how to attack an all-star race.
Yikes.
But as you, oh man.
The 48 again. Matt Mackin still collecting race cars to the face. Talk about a guy that can't buy a break.
No. I mean, Atwood can't buy a break. Mackin can't buy a break. The 29 there, Chris Davis, went to Whiplash City.
Jamison Middle Miss also catching a piece of that one.
And Middle Miss has been in the thick of it as well.
You can see a little beating and banging going on in front of him.
You know, it doesn't take much. Once you start dinking and dunking it,
Oh, he got it locked down. Nice save, sir.
Very nice.
Middle Miss just jammed on the binders and tried to hold it straight to stay out of that mess, and absolutely did. Is that car is no longer the worse for wear.
I can't get over how well that car came to a halt.
Mm-hmm. Solid job.
Yes, finally, Middle Miss catches a break.
It's the first time for everything, right?
That true statement, Tony.
I mean,
how about Mr. Two-Tire Fire up here?
Oh, absolutely. Randy Mullins putting on a clinic of how to get around North Wilkesboro Speedway tonight. But, you know, Matt, we talk about luck all the time. And they say that, I got my lucky rabbit's foot. What do you mean you got a lucky rabbit's foot? Well, it's a rabbit's foot. Well, then it wasn't that lucky for the rabbit, well, then was it?
It all depends on how you look at it, Tony.
Oh, I got my lucky horseshoe. Yeah, do you know what it means when a horseshoe is not on a horse? That horse has thrown that shoe and usually thrown the rider at the same time.
Lights are out on the pace car, cleaning up the tires just like you want to do here. You can see all that rubber, the loose stuff, really starting to come into play up towards the top side of the racetrack. As we're going to line them up here again. Randy Mullins in the 42 of Warren Young. He has the button, and he is going to send it. How is the 54 of Mullins on 96-lap-old left side tires taking him to the bank each and every restart? Look at King there fighting. He's grinding on the bottom now. That's with alongside Aaron Matthews. King now up 10 spots. He wants more. Is there going to be door-to-door drag
Oh, my
racing
God,
down
they're
into
3 wide
one?
behind him. Bender,
Wow.
Sanders, and Gillimore were just 3 wide.
Wow.
Gillimore wisely backed out of it. Now he falls into the clutches. Jamison Middleton is off the
Pepsi
curb.
can gets popped. Up on 2 tires, curbs it, walls it.
And we stay green. 2 laps. No, we don't. 2 laps left in the stage. That's going to be your stage break, folks. So Mullins, Young, Matthews, King, Carmichael, Crawford, Wortman, Spear, Sanders, and Binder, your top 10 at the stage caution.
Yes, Paul Gillimore gets thrown onto the off-road technical course. Watch this.
There's the 3 wide.
I think it's going to pop off here this lap.
Oh, little net code with the 16.
Yeah, because it didn't look like Middle Miss had actually made contact, but the 11 reacted like he did.
Yeah, no, there was daylight between those cars. And just like that, stage break or stage caution is out. We are going to come back with roughly inside 50 to go. But with that, we're going to step away, pay a couple bills, and we'll be back right after this. And we are back at North Wilkesboro, getting ready to go back to action here with 102 laps in the books here for the Moonshiners Racing League Cup Series All-Star event. I'm Tony Chapasso. He's Matt Metler. Thank you so much for making this part of your Wednesday evening. And Matt, how about Randy Mullins? 2 tires, clean air, and continues to show the way.
I don't have the words to describe what that 54 of Mullins is doing on 2 tires, but that guy is mowing them down the competition with 103 laps on the left sides. Are you kidding me? But here comes the 42 of Warren Young trying to fire off on the top side, and Mullins isn't having any of it.
Mullins was able to get his foot in at that right side, hanging on just enough as... Yeah, we didn't have a lot of takers that last time by. As a matter of fact, I'm showing our top 5. Last time any of them were down pit road was on lap 55. Tim Wortman, and we're back under caution. Why? Warren Bowden. Let's see what happened to Wayne Bowden here. The 48 right there with him, almost 3 wide in front of him. The 4 is way off pace. Oh, yeah, that would be why. He had some help. Watch that one again from the iRacing blimp. See the 48 almost getting into him, coming off of 4. And just a little bit of contact is all you need when you're on the razor's edge and around goes bowling. And this whole caution fest that we're seeing right now is just playing into Randy Mullins' hands. The fact that
Bingo.
he hasn't had a lot of laps under anger on those laps. And the Wrights, they're only about 50 laps old, and we haven't had a lot of laps under anger on the Wrights either.
No, every time this caution, like you said, Tony, I mean, you said it best. Every time this yellow flag comes out, he is having a party inside the cockpit of that race car. Maybe a little sip of some cherry moonshine, some apple pie, perhaps. That's exactly what Mullins wants to see, especially on the high-stakes strategy that he's on. But like I was saying, Tony, no points on the line. Someone has to have the lug nuts to go up there and go big or go home, and that's exactly what Mullins did, and it's paying dividends.
Oh, it absolutely is. And Randy didn't have the best week last week. As a matter of fact, he lost a couple of spots to Darren Mullins, but Randy's showing right now that he's the Mullins to be reckoned with.
Yeah, Randy is rocking. That is for certain. But so is Warren Young. I mean, that 42, and I kind of hinted at it in heat number 2 or heat 1. The longer that 42 runs, the better he is. But then you have this super freak race car that defies the odds of tires in that 54 of Mullins. And he is just stucco in the field out there. I notice he's backing up the entry and really rolling the center where the 42 really charges hard into the corner. Watch how the 54 gets around this racetrack after we go green here.
Well, as soon as we do go green and we get a lap in, we're going to go on board.
Even better.
With Mullins. And then we're going to go on board with Warren Young. Oh! Or are we?
Little McSwirly out of the 42.
Good grief. Heads up driving for everybody around him as we get ready to go on board with your race leader. And you can hear just how early he's getting out of it, trail braking a little bit. And he's only using third gear.
What?
Look at the dash. Gear 3.
I am. That makes it even more preposterous on 100 lap 11 left side tires.
Absolutely. As we're going to take a quick. This is what Young is doing now, and you can see just how much later he's going into the corner, and he's using a lot more brake as we've got one very slow down on the infield there. That's the 29. That's Chris Davis. What happened to Davis?
Yeah, Davis just doesn't seem to have the same piece of equipment that he had before that big moment a few caution cycles ago.
Oh, he's hit something.
Well, that car is as beautiful as it looks. It's been
crap.
And caution out once again as everything keeps on going in the favor of Randy Mullins. 13 to Justin Sorrell there. Barry Sanders outside. Chris Spear running the wall. Oh, Wortman got squirrely coming off the corner. And that's going to uncork the 13. He's going to get caught up in the wall. And caution waves.
Keep your eye on Wortman. There's the Ollie's 83 that started on pole for this feature. And he's just going to get a little too aggressive on the loud pedal. The back end washes. Keeps it pointed relatively straight, but that didn't help Justin Sorrell at all. As he just overcooked turn 1 and around that car went up into the wall, off pace. Caution flies.
I mean, that happened at the worst possible spot on the racetrack for the 13. And I believe Wortman may have caught a piece of the flat there by pit road as well.
That's a good possibility.
I think that played a played a role there, Tony, as well.
Let's watch that again. Keep your eye on the 13s. The 7 bangs the wall in the back chute. Here comes Sanders on the top side as well. Nope. He didn't catch any of the flat. He just went straight up the track.
Straight up the track.
Got the back end into the marbles, and just like that, we're under caution. Lucky number 13.
As Randy continues to have a party, the one-man army of Randy Mullins in the 54 tonight, just defying NASCAR logic and physics here out of Mount Pleasant, North Carolina. And believe me, there's no more pleasant place in the race inside the racetrack than inside the 54. As he is somehow making it look easy.
He is at that, as we should be lights out next time by. So, Randy Mullins, Warren Young, Aaron Matthews, Hunter Carmichael, Garrett Crawford, Chris Spear, Barry Sanders Jr., John Binder, Matt Mackin, and Nick King into the top 10 for the... Well, it's been a long time since we've seen King into the top 10.
Well, you know, Nick King, he has a lot of speed in that Ford Mustang. He just can't seem to catch a break.
Well, here's something that's going to make one of our viewers on YouTube side of things very happy. Chris Kane, John Binder into the top 10. Currently your biggest mover at plus 18, sitting in 8th.
33 flexing right now, up 18 spots, Tony, and you're right. In 8th place right now, having a great run.
Solid run.
Go, and again, Mullins just mows him down on the restart. 3rd gear and all. Well, not on the restart, but running in 3rd gear, mind you, at that. 42 really gets a great run, rocking the top there. Aaron Matthews in 3rd, final podium position. And here comes the twisted sister car of Ricky Carmichael. I don't know how he is getting that Camaro to perform at that level. That is just crazy.
I have no idea, and I don't even want to venture a guess at what he's going through right now. But here's the good news. We were able to get a GoPro on his helmet, so let's go inside. And this is what Hunter Carmichael is seeing.
How is that steering wheel straight?
I don't think it ever gets straight. Ah, there it is.
That's
A brief second on the back straightaway.
I thought for sure we would see that center line 45 degrees out. But Carmichael's, he has a beat-up race car, and he has piloted that thing up to 4th in the 3. That's the second miracle out there on the racetrack.
Speaking of movers, here comes John Binder working on Nick King right now. Binder tried the high side, didn't quite work. He's going to have to fall back and regroup. But that is an angry hornet's nest right in front of him. From Garrett Crawford, Barry Sanders going door to door. Nick King right there. Binder all right there on top of each other. Oy!
Oh!
Crawford just got all sorts of sideways coming off of 4.
Yeah, the hive is swarming. Right back at Barry Sanders. There's King on the move again. And I'm telling you, if King can keep his nose clean or just avoid being the magnet, I think he'll have an opportunity to get up there, as now he's putting Barry Sanders under duress in that 88. Look how well that 4 turns into the corner.
He's got something in there that's allowing that car to initiate the corner better than just about anyone else right now. And I'm looking back, and it's not anything crazy. During the stage break, he took 4 in fuel, as you would expect. The question is, those guys that stayed out under the stage caution, how much longer are they going to be able to stay out, as we are inside 25 to go?
Yeah, inside 25 to go. These tires are now starting to really feel the effects of this hot racing surface and the hard charge and racing action. But you're right, Tony. The 4 of that 4 machine there, we go back to the 33 there. John Binder having a phenomenal run as he continues to pick him off as the laps continue to count up or wind down, depending on how you look at it. Right behind him, though, Garrett Crawford in the 69 ride. That's the battle there for 9th and 10th. Justin Sorrell just behind him.
Good recovery drive for the Elite 13.
Absolutely.
And is checking back in with the boss man. Barry Sanders still has his rearview mirror filled with Nick King. As a matter of fact, this is what it looks like out the back of Sanders' car. As he brushes the wall on the front chute, King had it well spotted, going to back off a little bit. You can see just how unsettled that car got when King touched the left front tire to that flat at the exit of pit road.
Yeah, and that's one of the trouble spots, Tony, that you and I keep pointing out. It doesn't look like much, but your car sees that is going off a ledge, as that'll really upset the balance, and that's really set off a couple incidences here. Here comes the 5, Aaron Matthews, charging on the 42 of Warren Young there. He's going to split the difference. Now Hunter Carmichael's thinking about going with him. The 42 comes down, shuts off the faucet, doesn't give him the spot on the racetrack. Hunter Carmichael's going to have to go back to work now and see if he can figure out a way to get around the 42. Is now just 18 laps to go.
And you got to wonder, can Mullins actually make it from here?
You know, he's won this many restarts. He's putting on a clinic. I mean, he's got almost, I can't believe it, he's got almost over a half a second on Aaron Matthews right now.
And that's because Matthews was fighting so long with Young that let Mullins get out there. Now Young's got to deal with Carmichael. As Carmichael dips 2 into the grass to get that car to rotate. This battle for third, just a slugfest right now. And they're not any lighter on each other behind them. And it's Barry Sanders and Chris Spear going after each other with Nick King in tow.
What's even crazier is how is the 2 biggest miracles of the race, positions 1 and 2. You got the 2-tire fire, Randy Mullins, and Trash Fest in the 3 car that's been destroyed. Monster truck, space shuttle mode on the racetrack, and yet they run 1 and 2 on the surface.
1 and 3 actually. Aaron Matthews separating the 2 of them. But
I'm sorry, close enough.
Let's not crown out that Crawford ASM number 5. Currently sits +2, so he's had a strong car all night. A little bit of issues early on. I think he spun it once, so good recovery drive for him. As we're 14 laps to go, Randy Mullins now 2 3/4 seconds to the good, as he continues to just set a blistering pace. As a matter of fact, let's take a look at the lap times here.
He's faster than everybody. A 19:07.
A 19:07 last time by, 0.2 quicker, over 0.2 quicker than Aaron Matthews, who sits in second. Oh, problems for King. No.
Oh, King was just starting to ride his way out of it.
We stay green, though, as here comes Binder on Sorrell. Binder currently +19, looking to get 20 under his belt after starting almost shotgun on this field.
Yeah, he continues to impress. The longer we go, the better the 33 gets. About to eclipse here, 20 positions gained if he's able to find his way around the 13 of Sorrell.
11 laps to go, and there's a slugfest back here. 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th, all right there on top of each other. I'm sorry, the 78 of Bowen is a lap car. But, you've got Spear, Gilmore, and Crawford just picking them up, laying them down. This is your battle just inside the top 10. Matter of fact, 8 through 10th. They got that sorted out. Now Matthews and Carmichael starting to heat things up for second. Did you speak it into reality, Matt? As you said Carmichael was in second, did you just speak that into reality in the universe?
I may have, as I wholeheartedly thought that was the case, but he is there. As destroyed as that race car is, the Twisted Sister 3 is fighting for second. And what's even crazier is the 54 of Mullins. I can't, Tony, you're a setup guy, you're an engineer. How does this work?
A lot of luck.
This is crazy.
And the track temperature has dropped 10 degrees since we started.
I mean, as good of a ride as
Oh!
Aaron Matthews. Oh!
Contact between Matthews and Carmichael in the middle of 4. Carmichael letting him know he's there and not happy with him. And all of that going on, that's allowing Barry Sanders in 4th to claw his way back into this as we are on the handshake lap. 5 to go for Mullins.
I cannot believe Mullins, and I can't get over Hunter Carmichael. This isn't supposed to happen, but it is. Is now he goes drift mode there in the 3, giving it everything he has on Aaron Matthews in the 5, who has had one heck of a drive himself in that 5 ride. 4 laps to go.
4 laps to go, and these guys are just going after it now. 4 laps to go now, as Mullins out to a 4.5-second lead over this battle for second, as Matthews and Carmichael are not done. And we are now 3 to go officially.
This is like going all the way against Muhammad Ali or Mike Tyson in their prime. Is now that the 3 poke check the 5, still can't get him to move. And I give Hunter Carmichael a lot of credit because he's not trying to wreck the 5.
Oh!
He's trying to move him. Oh, no!
We're going into overtime.
Carmichael overcooks it coming off of turn 4.
And there was no contact between them. It was just Carmichael trying to get aggressive. He caught the flat at the end of pit road. Oh, no. And that ends his night.
The flat that keeps on kicking.
Yeah, let's watch that again. As we're going to watch it from the iRacing blimp. There's the tap coming out of 2 to let Matthews know he was there. And there's Carmichael catches that flat and just washes the back end right out of that car. But he did the right thing, keeping it down and out of the racing line so nobody else got into him. That's a heartbreaker right there.
Big time heartbreaker is, I don't even have the words to describe of, what Carmichael was able to do with that race car after what we've seen it go through tonight. In any other night, there wasn't a Randy Mullins on the track. That would have been the main attraction.
Well, now here's the question. We still have a restart to go, and Justin Sorrell has just came down pit road back on lap 114. He's going to be restarting in 4th. So Mullins is going to have to be careful. Sanders was down on lap 91 just before the stage caution. Binder was down at the stage caution. Sorrell was down just after it. Gilmore was down just after it. With Warren Young, Nick King, Chris Spear, Garrett Crawford, and Matt Mackin all coming down for their final set of tires just now.
It's even more a David and Goliath type of battle setup here. But, Tony, I have to say this. As many of these restarts, as Mullins has taken it to the house time and time again, and as he defies the laws of physics and grip for seems like an eternity out there on the racetrack as he was walking the field, I got to imagine just all this confidence that he has built up over the course of this race. Yeah, you got a very hard fighting Aaron Matthews on the inside. You got the Predator, the silent sleeper behind him, and the 88 Barry Sanders moving methodically through the field just how he always does. He's right there, fresh tires all around him. I mean, this is World War II style in the trenches for the 54. It's about to be all-out warfare on the racetrack.
What is going on with Aaron Matthews? He just went into the wall in 1.
Well, if he has kids like I do, that's happened to me before. Is one of them tries to reach in and say goodnight, this, that, the other.
Well, here we go, as we're about to find out if Mullins can hang on. First attempt at overtime. Pace car is in. Mullins wastes absolutely no time dropping the hammer. Mullins, Matthews, Sorrell, and Sanders, your top four. And here comes the 11.
Here comes the 11 on the top shelf.
Oh no!
Oh.
Rack him, stack him, and try it again.
His Mullins is going to have to do it again. As King gets Captain Crunch.
You guys are beating and banging back there with the fresh tires. King's going to get into the 11.
Oh,
the 69 gets spat up the track, and then the 42 gets into the 4. Let's watch that one again.
Yeah, he got kicked up there like a redheaded stepchild.
It was the 69. Keep your eye on Crawford. Watch this. Watch what happens to the 69 of Crawford.
Top shelf there. Ooh.
I dare say that was netcoat.
It looks like netcoat. I mean, there wasn't even anyone around him.
I didn't see the car twitch, so that was bad netcoat. And then Nick King, which we'll go back and take a look from up here. Keep your eye on King and the 42. Now the 4 is good. King is going to get into the 11, going into 1. There.
Oh, massive shot. But look what it does. It actually helps.
That was netcode. That was bad netcode. There was daylight between King and the 41 of Young.
Tony, that's probably the worst netcode I've ever seen.
I don't know about being the worst, but it was definitely bad. As we're going to take a closer look, this is what the chopper picked up. So there's the shot into the 11 and complete daylight. As a matter of fact, can we get the drone out there? Did we have the drone?
Jimmy Egenfelder's in the pit still. He's got the drone.
Okay, so keep your eye on King, as we did have the drone. And we couldn't really see it there. So let's do this. This is what John Binder saw.
Getting the face full of Camaro there to the back of his race car.
We're going to get the best view here. Maybe not.
Your heart was in the right place. Oh! Smash Brothers City there on the restart. Tony, I'll say this. I know you've been doing this a lot longer than I have, but for me, being up in the booth, that's the worst netcode I've ever seen in my life.
And here we go. Restart. Mullins drops the hammer. Can we get the finish in?
Can Mullins, can someone give Mr. Hail Mary high stakes himself? Can he see a white flag? Randy Mullins going
3 and 4 for what we hope is the second to last time. That battle for third still hot and heavy. We are racing back to checkers, Matt.
The two-tire wonder, two-tire fire, Randy Mullins in the 54.
They're wrecking behind him.
Doesn't matter now. White flag, he already took it. Coming racing back to the line. Here comes Aaron Matthews, but he's not going to have enough juice in the tank. Is Randy Mullins puts up a shocker. It takes to the house all-star race on 2 tires. And Tony, I am lost for words right now.
They're still wrecking.
And if Matt Mackin comes up there, of course, he's got to show the 54 some love as he puts on a number 1 stunner. here in North Wilkesboro.
But getting ready to burn him down, Randy Mullins just, what a drive. Gambled and won. It came up on the roulette wheel came up on his number.
Yeah, he hit the jackpot big time here. I mean, he's going to get one heck of a button box, probably one of the nicest ones I've seen, as Randy Mullins goes deep into the playbook. And the Little Giants, it was the annexation of Puerto Rico that won him the game. And Randy Mullins defies the odds.
And Matt, I believe you've got the winner of that RS button box with you now.
Randy Mullins, Mr. Two-Tire Fire. How did you make that work?
Well, I've done some testing, and the tires really didn't just fall off like I expected. So I said, man, I'm not going to lose track position. So I just took two and made sure I was smooth and hit my marks.
Randy, I was saying at the top of the broadcast, if you want someone to win this race that you may not expect, you're going to have to go big, go Las Vegas mode, high stakes, and that's exactly what you did. And you shined in prime time tonight. Virtually, it felt like all race long as Tony and I were left speechless with our jaws hanging open. Talk to me about those restarts. Was there ever a time, as you got north of 100 laps on those left sides where you were worried that someone behind you there was going to come up there and take it from you?
No, not really. I knew that if I cleaned them off down the backstretch and got a good launch in the middle of 3 and 4, that I'd be fine. It's just about hitting your shift points at the right time so you don't light them up and turn left or right. So we had enough of them tonight that I knew what to do, and luckily, every one of them I nailed perfectly, and I couldn't ask for anything any better, really.
Randy, there's no modern tech in these race cars. You don't have traction control, ABS, all-wheel drive, but certainly you drove that race car, and it looked like you did at times. Congratulations on getting the all-star win here tonight. Who do you want to thank? Who helps you get it done each week on that team?
First and foremost, I need to thank my wife. She lets me do this. I spend a lot of time on here. I didn't spend that much this week, but definitely I do put in time. And then naturally, EPI, my teammates, everybody that watches, and my sponsors, Ram Welding and OB Builders. And then naturally, I also want to thank you guys for what y'all do up in the booth.
Well, thank you, Randy. We certainly appreciate it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there is your all-star race winner. Not afraid to go, no limit, high stakes. The two-tire man had the plan from the beginning, and he took it to the house. He is your winner, Randy Mullins. Tony, back to you, sir.
Randy, real quick before we do let you go, you and Darren, brothers, father, son?
We are father and son.
Very cool. Very cool. Wanted to make sure we got that, and thank you for your service, sir, as we head into Memorial Day weekend. Luckily, you're one of the ones that are still with us, so thank you for that. But your winner, Randy Mullins, and joining me now is going to be the driver of the number 5, Mr. Aaron Matthews. And Aaron, all things considered, especially with as tumultuous as this race could be at times, can't be too disappointed with a podium finish here at Wilkesboro.
No, sir. I'll take second to Randy any day. Man, he's a hell of a driver.
Well, coming into those final few restarts, I mean, you had to start thinking to yourself, what do I got to do to get by this guy?
Man, I'll just tell you, I played games with Randy all night long, trying to figure out his restarts. He's just A1 restart guy and a driver, so I just couldn't beat him.
Well, you both put on an amazing show at the front of this field. Luckily, you both stayed out of trouble. But, Aaron, we go into Charlotte next week. What are your thoughts going into the Queen City?
Man, I honestly haven't even given any thought yet. I know I have to work my tail off to beat these guys. We're getting there. I just ain't got there yet. So
Fair enough.
We'll have something for them in Charlotte.
Fair enough. Who do you need to thank before we let you go celebrate the podium?
Man, I got to thank all about Sheet Metal for sponsoring this car tonight. Green River Tire, I got Quincy here with me. He's watching. Hickory Harbor, Bad Boys Racing, Barry, Warren, all those guys, Hunter. It seems like there's a couple more that I'm forgetting. I always do. RS Button Boxes. I got to thank Richie Snyder for the button box.
Absolutely. We had one of those on the line here tonight. Came just a tick short, but great racing all night. Congratulations on the podium. We'll see you next week in Charlotte.
All right, thank you.
And rounding out our podium, Matt, I believe you've got Justin Sorrell with you now.
Justin Searle, Matt and Tony up in the SRM booth. You got us, bud.
I do, sir. How's it going, guys?
Woo! We are fired up, and once again, you guys deliver. Justin, we said at the top of the show, no points on the line. The gloves were going to come off, and boy, did they ever. At lap 1, the nuclear bomb goes off as a 77 goes around. Walk me through this race. How were you able to survive the carnage and stay alive and put that car in P3 when all is said and done?
I was hoping you were going to be able to tell me that, because I really can't explain it all from the seat of the car. I had a good spotter in the car tonight, Cody, with WGM Motorsports. That was a huge plus tonight for me. So him keeping me out of trouble, which I didn't keep myself out of trouble all night tonight. I got in the wall a few times, had to regroup, change the setup a little bit to make it feel a little bit better. And, we made a call there at the end to run the last 40 laps on a new set of tires, and it worked out for us. And I don't think if we didn't get that last caution that I was going to catch, up to that third place. But luckily it worked out for us again.
You bring up a great point there, because at times on the racetrack, it looked like you knew what was going to happen, the way that you were able to pilot that 13 around the chaos. And it wasn't easy for you. You got shaken, you got stirred, had to take it back to the house and regroup. And you kept your foot in it, you kept your head in the game, and you had a heck of a drive in that car. You come home third in the All-Star race, just a little bit short. Who do you want to thank? Who helps you get it done? I know you mentioned your spotter, but probably a lot more than just him on that 13 machine.
Oh, yeah, definitely want to give it out to Matt Coney over at EPI. He helped us with the setup this week, and definitely, it made it easier on me to have a nice setup to run with those guys. So major props to them, and anybody definitely go out, check EPI out. There's a lot more there than meets the eye. They help you out with everything. And just went on with a new team with WGM Motorsports. They're just making some things happen over there, and got a great team. They supply with a spotter and stuff, and they take care of all your digital billboard needs and stuff as well. So definitely look at them for coming up through the market, and hopefully you'll see some more of us.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there he is, definitely getting the Iron Man Award of the race tonight. That is the 13, piloted by Justin Sorrell. He comes home third. Tony, back to you.
And with that, we've got another one in the books. Taking a quick look at our finishing order. Randy Mullins, Aaron Matthews, Justin Sorrell. We already spoke to those three gentlemen. Barry Sanders hanging on for fourth. Paul Gillimore in fifth. John Binder in sixth. Your biggest mover at plus 20. That's impressive, especially considering all the carnage that happened in the early going. Warren Young, Jameson Middlemiss, Chris Davis, and Nick King rounding out your top 10. Matt Mackin rounding out your lead lap cars in 11th, with Chris Spear and Garrett Crawford rounding out the top half of the field. Matt?
Wayne Bowen, Hunter Carmichael, who I was heartbroken for, was so electric there until the end. Daryl Klotz, Timothy Wortman, and Nicholas Atwood. That rounds out your top 18. David Belisari, Kenny Capola, heartbreak there as well. Caden Norfry, Ryan Huff, and Shane Davis, the top 23 finishers. Kyle Holden comes home 24th. Paul Whitney, 25th. Bobby Justice, 26th. In your final finishing spot tonight, the 27 machine, or coming home 27th, the 27 of Derek Jacobs, Tony. And I got to wonder how many bets are being placed on two tires on pit stops next week at Charlotte.
I dare say with, what Mullins was able to do tonight, that had to have opened a lot of guys' eyes that weren't very, they were a little unsure, maybe on the fence of whether or not two tires were going to work with this latest tire model. And they're supposed to be rolling out another one just after that Charlotte race when week 13 comes out. as we're only 2 weeks out from that. So the tire model is going to change yet again, as from what I've been seeing in the release notes. So get it while it lasts, boys, because I don't think it's going to last when they roll out the newest model.
Yeah, I mean, he literally hit the casino when he checked into the race, went to the craps table and went high stakes. And Nick Mullins, Randy Mullins, the magic man himself, pulls off a thriller. It gets it done in the All-Star race, takes home a button box. Tony, it's been another wild ride here in primetime once again, but we come to grow and love each and every week.
Absolutely. You know, these guys, when we brought them on, okay, first race jitters, it was Martinsville. We're going to just sweep that one aside. But ever since then, these guys have put on just amazing action week in and week out. And we got to see them tonight having all sorts of fun here at North Wilkesboro, this hallowed ground. But that is going to do it for us tonight here from Wilkes County, North Carolina. I'm Tony Trapasso. He's Matt Metler. I'm reminding you folks, yes, it's Memorial Day weekend. Yes, it's a 3-day weekend for a lot of us. Don't forget what this weekend is for. This is where we remember those men and women of the United States Armed Forces that gave the ultimate sacrifice so that you and I can enjoy the freedoms that we have. And we, take a moment of silence at some point this weekend and, thank them in private. And don't forget that there are 3 different days for the armed forces. Memorial Day this weekend. There is also Armed Forces Day and Veterans Day. And please keep in mind that there's different thank yous that need to be given on each of those days. Memorial Day is for those that are no longer with us. Veterans Day is for those that served and came home. Armed Forces Day are for those who are still either active or in reserve capacity. So try to keep that in mind, but celebrate safely with your family. If you're going to drink, please don't drive. In the meantime, as you walk down the road of life this week, do us all a favor. Don't play in traffic. Good night, everybody.